Well, here's a nice picture I drew, brothers and sisters, back around chapter 100 of old Captain Whitechase Smoker, but he's certainly central to the story right now, at least in this arc and this part of this arc. So if you enjoy it and more like this, remember to follow me on the social network.
One Piece, Chapter 168, Rainbase, the City of the Dreams.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the epic and classic and awesome and just, I don't even know how else to describe One Piece at this point. It really is just a really, really cool journey that I've only taken the first few steps on. So definitely a marathon and not a sprint. So our last chapter left us, of course, with everybody going in separate directions. The Straw Hats, of course, are going to travel north to kick Crocodile's ass to Rainbase. From Alubarna, the king and his men, the Royal Guard, are headed west, as they found out now from receiving word from Vivi through Karoo that in fact is Sir Crocodile's behind everything. And then, of course, the rebels are going north to Alubarna from Cateria. So everybody's kind of going to different places, and some people are going to converge and hopefully, get together, and the shit's going to hit the fan. However, so that's where we left off. And that's kind of where things pick up, but this really just follows, this particular chapter just follows our group, the Straw Hats. This has been a day's journey from what we had heard, and they are, off in the middle of the desert, but approaching Rainbase. And so as they're approaching Rainbase, the only thing really of significance that happens is Nami asks Usopp, she says, hey, have you finished that thing you were working on for me? And everybody's like, huh, what thing, And he says, yeah, I got it right here. And he hands her these three looking pipes. They almost look like little flutes or something between his hands, and they says that it's a climate baton. And apparently, I like Usopp too because he's like the inventor of the group. He's the MacGyver, and he says that you can combine them in different ways for different types of attacks. I don't know if the name climate means anything else. At first, I was thinking like, cool, you can do like ice attacks or fire attacks or something like that. That's what I would have thought. But ultimately, it just looked kind of cool, and I guess we'll see how it plays out and plays into the story, if anything at all. But he did make something for my current favorite Straw Hat, which is Nami, which is kind of neat. So they then go in, and of course they're tired from their journey across the desert. They're hungry. They're mainly thirsty, and as they get into town, Luffy's just like, water, water, just the usual Luffy thing that he has going on. So we wind up going and seeing... it's kind of funny because we go and we see inside this cafe in Rainbase, we see Smoker, Captain Smoker, sitting there with Tashigi, and he's just kind of like talking. It's almost like they're having a beer, sort of drowning their sorrows, And Tashigi's like, why did you want to come here to Rainbase? And he's like, I don't know, just a feeling, like a hunch, And he goes, and he says, it feels like there's just like a dark shadow hanging over this country. I don't know how to explain it, but, that's my feeling. So it's kind of one of those intuition things, just sort of a cop hunch that he's got. So as they're sitting there talking, right behind them, Luffy and Usopp burst in, and Luffy's like, oh, water, water. So they come up to the bar next to them, not even noticing them, right? Only Luffy's, this is the type of luck that Luffy has. It could only happen to him. And him and Usopp start like chugging just barrels of water. He's like, we need 5 more and this and that. All of a sudden, Usopp goes and kind of turns and notices that Smoker and Tashigi are there, and he just like does a spit take. Just launches water right at their faces. So they've got barrels of water, and they go running out of the place. It then goes and cuts back to the Straw Hats and the remaining Straw Hats, and we see we see Chopper walking off, and he's just kind of like, I gotta pee, and which is funny because you would think he could just pee anywhere in the streets over there in the sand or what have you, like an animal, but he doesn't consider himself an animal, obviously, so he's going to go find himself somewhere to pee. So it's also funny, too, because I forgot to mention this, but when Crocodile was getting the information about this crew and from Mr. 3, and then Mr. 2 was talking about everybody he saw on the ship, he was like, okay, I'll give you credit for there was 4 of them in Vivi, but the other one was it was a pet, So he's making fun of Chopper as like he's being a pet, didn't look at him as like he was a crew member. So anyway, so they're sitting there, and then all of a sudden they see, of course, the Marines coming after them, hot on the trail of Luffy and Usopp, and they even had made mention, like, God, should we have sent them, for that? And they're like, oh yeah, it's an easy task, they can do it, and yeah, but they're kind of dim-witted, and the trouble seems to find them. So we get that sort of thing. The rest of the chapter is really just kind of a cat and mouse game. I mean, there's some specifics that I'll get into, but for the most part, it really is just the Marines and Smoker, being alerted, of course, now to the Straw Hats present, chasing them through the streets. Prior to them splitting up, because they all wind up eventually splitting up and then saying that they're going to meet at Rainbase, or at Rain Dinners, the casino that Crocodile owns, and there's like a giant crocodile at the top of the pyramid, so, it's like a big neon sign saying, this is where the bad guy is, if you know Sir Crocodile's the bad guy anyway. So, which we do at this point. So, they're running around, and they're like, this is definitely going to attract Baroque Works, and they're trying to still kind of lay a little bit low. They were even talking about that out in the desert, and Luffy's like, no, we got to go kick Crocodile's ass type of deal, go punch him in the mouth. And, Usopp was like, we got to be careful. Baroque Works has probably got lots of undercover agents. And then even, and then it was Vivi who said, she's like, listen, for once I got to agree with Luffy. We just got to go kick this dude's ass. It doesn't matter if they know we're here or not. Who cares? They probably already know we're in Alabasta anyway, which they do. So they're running through the streets over there, and they wind up going and alerting, of course, some Baroque Works agents, which, of course, are in the town there, some of the Millions agents, and they're firing at them. The Marines are coming at them, so then they go and they do the whole let's split up thing, right? And everybody's going to go different ways or pair off, whatever, lose the tails, so to speak, and then meet up at Rain Dinner's casino. So as they go off in their separate directions, Luffy goes and kind of taunts Smoker, because obviously, Smoker's the most formidable one of them, and so Luffy goes and takes it upon himself to distract him, and Smoker's like, man, don't get cocky, kid. Reminds me of like Han Solo or something, But so he's chasing after him, trying to capture him. Obviously, Tashigi winds up running into Zoro, and Zoro is like, no, I'm not even dealing with you. You can't. Don't make that face. Don't make that face. And she's just like, what? Because she's like, we have unfinished business. He's like, I have no business with you. And she's like, yeah, but we never even crossed swords, or we never even fought. And he just doesn't want to have anything to do with her. But, and we all know why. So he goes running off, and there's just some other really funny exchanges over there. Sanji, of course, saying he's going to take care of a bunch of bad guys and telling Usopp to go on ahead with Vivi, because he doesn't want, of course, Nami or Vivi to get hurt. And then there's a number of Baroque Works agents that are all lined up at this one point with guns, and they're about to go and fire on some of them. And all of a sudden, Zoro just comes in with just like a jump sidekick, man, and just knocks them over like dominoes. So then Zoro's like, where the hell is where's Vivi? And then, that's when he tells me, he says, no, I sent her on ahead, and this and that. So we're hoping that Vivi's not lost because we do not see her towards the end of it. Luffy then comes running, and now they're closer, of course, to the Rain Dinner's casino. And Luffy comes running up, but Smoker's hot on his tail, and Luffy's like, come on, we got to go to Crocodile. So the chapter ends shortly after that. They approach Rain Dinner's casino, and they see that this pyramid is also, it's like built on a lake, and we saw that kind of from when Mr. 3 got dropped down. We assumed down into the depths of the dungeons or whatever, the bottom of the pyramid, and we saw that he was surrounded, by water. He was in like this. He was dry where he was, but he was almost like it was like a huge fish tank. It looked like that he was that. So that's obviously the lake. That has the banana gators in them. So the last thing that winds up happening, though, and we see this in the last couple panels, is as they're going to approach the casino and get in there and regroup and go kick Crocodile's ass, which I'm pretty sure as long as this arc is, something's going to happen that they're not going to do that right away. He's going to pull some kind of ninja vanish. But what we wind up having happen is Crocodile, says, Miss All Sunday says, hey, they're in the building. Crocodile says, okay, really? The Million said that. Miss All Sunday, go greet our guests. So we can presume now that we're going to see Miss All Sunday and some of her powers as well. So definitely, not a lot as far as moving things forward chapter, but certainly one of those necessary bridge chapters to get things going. It was not short on action at all. It was not short on comedy at all. It just kind of trudged along and finished up, and I felt like I was not much further than I was before, but that happens sometimes. And certainly I'm just looking forward to finishing this up and diving right into the next one. So my chapter question is, and unless I missed something over here, Tashigi and Smoker went on the Grand Line and came after them, and were assuming, or from what it said, against orders from what Command wanted. So Are they basically just like rogues at this point? I mean, do they really even have any power? I mean, I know that the Marines are still found them, but I mean, if they wind up meeting up with some other groups of Marines, if there is any here on the Grand Line, you know, will they be given safe harbor or anything like that? Like, are they still recognized as, you know, like an authoritative entity? You know, authoritative, I think it is, yeah, authoritative, whatever. You know what I mean? Are they still recognized as like the police, the authorities? Or are they basically like, hey, whatever, you're out of your jurisdiction type of deal? So that's just something that's been bothering me ever since I seen them pop back up, because I know that they did wind up, you know, coming there against orders. Went, you know, onto the Grand Line. Captain Smoker and Tashigi and everybody took with them, abandoned their post, you know, back at Logtown. So that is my question. If certainly if anybody could answer that for me, as long as it's not, you know, any type of spoiler-ridden answer, I certainly would appreciate it. And leave your answer in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button, if you should think that I deserve it. Sound like Gandalf. You shall not pass! But anyway, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Like, thanks for watching the video. You should totally subscribe because I'm over here jumping up and down, bouncing, heaving my big old bazungas. This shit get crazier and crazier after each and every video I watch.